Welcome to Bad Idea Metals. I'm Anthony. Today I got something fun to show you, so we'll get into that right away. But do stick around to the end, as I've got an update and a future contest I'd like to announce. All of that's at the end, so let's get into the video. Today, we're gonna tear this thing apart. It's gonna take multiple days. There's no way that I can get this whole thing done with what time I have left in the day today. So we're gonna do this in a multi-part fashion. I'll make it one video for you guys, but this is gonna take me multiple days. The good news is the majority of the cards come right out. What this is, it's a Lucent Technologies phone server or phone distribution cabinet. It does like the dial tones, like it's really cool. Let me show you a few things. So like right here it says analog line. Everything's upside down, but analog line, digital line. So here's a bunch of lines. Here is your tone clock. There's other fun things on here. Your announcement line. I'm not exactly sure what that does. Here's another clock. Tone detector. So this is a card that I assume would listen for tone on the other side and recognize whether it was a tone or not. Let's pull that out. It's pretty nice. It's got some oscillators on it. Intel right there, that Intel chipset from 1980. I don't know the actual age of this cabinet. Maybe by the end I will find a part number that I can use to look this up. But we're gonna start just pulling cards. I'm not gonna try to describe any of them, not specifically. If there's anything that stands out, I'll highlight it. But then we're gonna move on to the rest of the cabinet's features. We've got battery backups, we've got power management, and we've got heat management and all sorts of stuff. This cabinet, this weighs between 600 and 800 pounds. It's missing a few components, so maybe it's closer to the 600 pounds. But yeah, there we go. AT&T, you name it, it's all here. So we're gonna walk through this cabinet and see what we can do. All right, I'm gonna do everything I can not to get in the way. That's not gonna be possible. I'm gonna be shooting. I'm gonna be recording my big backside. I'll do what I can to edit that out. How's that sound? Okay, let's just start pulling cards before we lose daylight. One thing to note as I'm getting into this, there's no fingers. I really wish there were fingers on these cards. The pins have a little bit of gold plating on them, and these chips, they look like memory registers to me. I'm not positive on that, but I don't know. I'd have to look up what these are. But in general, there's not going to be a ton of gold on these, but they're still pretty fascinating for what they are. Well, we got one row, pretty much empty. See what the power looks like on this. Power supplies are monsters. Oh, all right. Well, there are all sorts of transformers and capacitors in here. It's kind of hard to see inside. Let's take a screwdriver to that and see if we can show what that looks like on the inside of that power supply. And I've got my magnet here. Sure enough, steel plate. So we'll put that off to the side for our steel bin. Transformer here. And we got our standard capacitors. So not too fancy. Those look like they should be pretty easy to pull things off of. Question is, are all power units built the same? No, this one's different. Slightly different. But it's got the same type of stuff inside. I don't see much variation. So I'm not going to take the steel shield off of this one. We're going to keep moving. That's the last card. Let's take a brief flyover of all these cards. All right, it's time to get back to this video. It's been a few months. So this is what it looks like on the back. Sorry, I'm crunching leaves underfoot here. It's got these patches. These are pretty cool. These are pretty cool. It's just a patch cable that goes from one side to any other. There we go, got it free. There it is. It's got a number of those in here, a few more down there. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much to this. A handful of fans and a handful of cables still to pull out. There's a power supply with batteries down there. So I'm just gonna pull a few things out here and I'll show you the highlights of what's interesting. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. It's got gold-plated pins inside that connector right there. Not too many and not too solid, but it's okay. But yeah, these are just some things to clean up here. So I definitely want to get these panels out and show them to you. They're just full of pins, and the pins were pretty well plated. So on the circuit board, I want to see it too. So we'll get it all out and I'll show you what I see. Well, I took a few screws off over here and it just fell forward, so I guess we'll see what we ended up with. Looks like a power switching module here. It's hard to see through at this angle, but there's just some transformers, some aluminum heat sinks. This just looks like power management. So we'll set that off to the side. Loud thing. What else fell out here? Fuses. These are batteries right here. This had its own little redundant source of power. So these are lead batteries right here. Well, let's see what we can do to liberate these batteries and take a look at what they look like. I mean, I can kind of see them through the opening here. So let's slide one of these batteries out. All right, it is a non-spillable lead battery. This side, it actually looked like either capacitors or lithium batteries down on this side. Well, we'll get these open, take a look. The rest of what's in this housing, it's just wires and what look like the fuse breakers. And all right, we'll set that off to the side. What else do we have in here? I don't even know what this is. Data service unit. All right, well, I'll set that off to the side. We'll see what's in there. I don't even know what that does. And then this is our main power supply in. It's got our main bus breaker on it and the really thick power cords coming out the tail there. Let's see what it would take to get this out. Okay, let's pull this out now that I've got it untangled from back behind there. Oh, I guess I missed one. All right. Okay, so now that we got this out, what is it? It appears to have a transformer in this. So it appears to have a transformer in here, as well as it's got these bus breaker switches. There's a number of components in there, but what I really like is this really thick cable. This right here, it's a pretty serious cable. Let's get some of that copper exposed. I'm just curious what the gauge actually is down inside there. Okay. Look at that. That is some really brilliant copper. It looks a little bit old, but it is nice and clean. This cable is probably about 5 to 10 pounds of copper with the shielding on. I don't know what it would be clean, but there's that. There's not really a whole lot left to take out. Next we're gonna try to take off the panels off the back. Now that I've removed all the screws holding it in, let's go ahead and pull this out. It's connected by some wires on the back. Let's go ahead and just yank on those. What I mean by yank, I mean by snip. Now that we've snipped those, they're a little bit bulky. I'm gonna lose frame here. May have to move you guys. Let's see what I'm looking at. Yeah, let's move you guys. So on the back here, I already removed the screws, but these panels, they connect through these wires here into what look like old SCSI type connectors. I just don't know what these connector types are called for this technology, but they're just tied right in. Oh, those are some really nice thick, what I think might be thick plated connectors here. Let's see what I can pull out and show you here. All right, I want to show you this. Inside there's some good gold-like connector types. The other side that's really fun are those pins. Let's get you in closer to those pins. So these pins are actually pretty fascinating to me. These pins are the reason why I continued working on this project. To be totally honest, I got bored. I got bored of this. I was tempted to just throw the whole thing in a steel pile and just sell it. But the cool thing about these pins is they come through the board on the other side. Let's try to get one of these pins out. To do it, we're gonna have to reach through this side and pull it. We did it. You can see I took that pin right there, and here it is. It's double-sided. There's gold on each side, and it's just plating. But that's why I wanted this board. I wanted to see what was on the board, whether the board had any other gold contacts or some leads anywhere, some stuff under the mask. Chances are I can see right here that it's going to be mostly a copper-based board. But yeah, there's thousands of these pins. That's why I decided I wanted to tear this apart further than just pulling out those expansion cards, the cards that the phone worked off of. All right, so I'm gonna finish taking these out, and then I'm gonna take out these pins, and I'll show you what I end up with. finally have one out, completely in hand. Look at all of those pins. That is impressive. Well, we got everything out of the box. You can see right through it. We got all of these cards with the pins. We got all of our wires over there. And assorted nonsense over here. All right, my friends, it's been, I don't know, it's been maybe 2 or 3 weeks since I recorded my last part for this video. These are Cupel cups. They're small ones. Can't remember the size. There's a specific amount of absorption that they can do based off of their size, how much bone powder is used, as well as how big the trough size is. But I'm brand new to all this, so I don't expect to even come close to guessing. I think I've got two layers of these Cupel cups. So I got quite a few. I've sat on these for a bit. I don't think that they age or they go bad. So we're gonna pull one out and we're going to do our first cupeling or cupellation exercise here. I don't know too much yet about what should or should not be cupelled. So we're gonna get into it, as I believe what I want to cupel has iron in it, and I don't know if the oven can get hot enough to do anything about the iron. But we'll get to that. But these are Cupel cups. I like how that shadow is, it reminds me of like an eclipse. There you go. If I get good at this, my hope is to eventually learn how to make these myself. There's a butcher nearby, and I could buy the bone from him and make my own cups if I can. So, okay, well, let's get to it. We're gonna see how bad of an idea this is. Fan has come on. It's waiting for me to program it, which is good. So I've got my Cupel cup. I've got some lead from old lead acid batteries here. Let's go grab those pins that I took out of the board a few weeks back. We're gonna see if this even works. Now, the button that it makes will be microscopic, and it may end up wasting a Cupel cup, but this is my first test run, and you can see it's still black inside from my my burnout video. I have not yet used this at all, so let's go ahead and use it. Here's some of our material. Now, I know I'm supposed to alloy them together, but I have a feeling a lot of this is steel, and I don't really want to go through that process right off. So what I'm going to do is just run a few of these pins, and I'll put some lead on top, and I'm hoping this may not work at all, but I'm hoping that the oxidizing lead will be able to encourage some of the base metals to melt in and drop in into the Cupel with it. So we're going to give ourselves just a handful of the lead. We're going to encourage that to melt down through the pins. Catch as much of that lead as I can. Okay, so that's not very much lead. I'm going to have to add more to it. So let's set up our table on the inside here. The table isn't going to be 100% necessary for the heat flow, but what I don't want to have happen is the insulator get lead on it, because I hear that the lead will damage the insulation, and I really don't want to deal with having to replace the insulation. Okay, I think it's on. Yep, the temperature's coming up, so let's go ahead and close this door. It is a little bit of a trick to program, and well, there you have it. Now, I don't expect a lot of success out of this run. I hope to be pleasantly surprised. Let's check back in a bit. So, I already peeked, and I've got good news. It's melting everything, finally. So, the temperature was my problem. And you can kind of see, let me see if I can zoom in on this. You can see the oxidation happening on the surface where it's pulling the oxidized lead in and around the base metals. So that's really good. So we're gonna let this go. I'm gonna have to reset the timer on the furnace here because it's starting to cool its way down. Wow, that is hard to read with this camera. Okay, so we're going to close this back up, and we are going to let this finish, see what we end up with. Just in case the process takes too long or too expensive with how many Cupels it may end up costing me to go through all of this, I'm going to also try the pins in hydrochloric. Each bottle of hydrochloric only cost me about 10 bucks. So I'm going to try to relieve the gold plating in hydrochloric and see if that's actually going to work. I'm going to see if these will dissolve the base metals. I'm hoping it's copper, and that would leave the exterior plating alone. I hope. We'll find out. If there's any silver on it, we'll take any silver, if there is any, off with a little dose of nitric after we run through the hydrochloric. The reason why I'm trying so hard to get to the bottom of how much gold is in these pins, this is about, I think I had it estimated about 1,500 pins. Between 1,000 and 1,500 pins, it comes to just about 500 milliliters in this jar. Now, granted, they can condense down better, I'm sure, so between 400 and 500 loose milliliters in pins. Not that we measure solids that way, but the reason why I'm so focused on doing this, here are the other boards. There's one that's been depopulated right there in the back, but I've got 4 of these, which means that if I can get any significant yield out of this, then I'll process the other 4 boards. The reason why I don't want to just automatically do it, it took me 3 hours to get all those pins off by hand, and I have 2 blisters to show for it. So, all in the efforts of recovering as much as we can to make everything worthwhile. All of this is an effort to do as much cost recovery or value recovery as possible. I did end up having to buy the whole phone system. It cost me a little under $100 to get the whole thing, and the steel alone only got me about $20. It was a lot of steel, but it only got me about $20. So I need to find $50 worth of gold, silver, or other metals that's worth it to me. Well, so that's really where I'm at. We're not done with the Cupel outside, but now we're gonna start our hydrochloric in here, because to be honest, I think that the Cupeling is gonna take too long and be too costly for what we're trying to do. But it is fun to see that the Cupeling is working on pins. But honestly, I think I did it wrong in that I need to make an alloy button first. We'll refine our process on doing the Cupeling here in a little bit. That was a fun first run. It's not technically done. We'll check in on it in just a minute. Let's go ahead and get this process started. What we'll do is we'll get some oxygen flowing around the hydrochloric, which I will put in this container along with the pins. Now we're gonna seed our copper chloride. I'm hoping that those pins are predominantly copper, and with the copper chloride, we'll be able to make more copper chloride. So let's go ahead and get that started. Okay, so we got the pins in. The hydrochloric looks a little green because I seeded it with some copper chloride. Copper chloride, when copper is present as a solid, will make more copper chloride if there's room in the saturation solution. So the good news is that should jumpstart us a few days into the making of copper chloride if, in fact, there's any copper to be pulled off of these pins. We'll find out. Let's go ahead and put our bubbler in. And there we go. I do have some very smart and very observant viewers here. The water is literally just water. The hydrochloric bottle was outside, and it rained recently enough that it trapped some water underneath the container and then froze. And since bringing that inside, that ice has now thawed and has left a puddle of water. That is not acid. We're just waiting for that to evaporate. But here we go. We're gonna let this go for probably about a week and see what happens. So we're not gonna be able to know the yield of this by the time I edit this video and get it out. But I hope to see some progress here pretty soon, and then I'll let you know how this bucket goes. Assuming that this bucket gives us good results, then I'll process the rest of the boards this way. If not, well, I don't know what I'll do. Those boards, they have a lot of good pins. I can't imagine that they don't have a lot of good gold, but we'll figure out the best way to get it all off. I'm really trying to dodge reverse electroplating. Okay, well, let's go back outside and see what that process is doing. Let's see what we end up with out here now that we're done messing around with the pins inside the greenhouse. This is starting to come down. It looks like it's about 1300. It did get up to 1850. I've noticed that the outside of this kiln gets hot enough that it will take it'll take the black and even some of the brown leather coloring and it melts it. So this kiln gets up to, well, I would call it flesh melting temperatures. So there's another element to the review, I guess. It says right here, caution, surfaces are hot. You know, where does it say? Caution, hot surfaces, avoid contact. So yeah, as soon as I touched it, it transferred over as melted plastics. So I've been using these tongs and these little pliers to grab it. But it's coming down. The temp is coming down. Let's take a look what we got. It looks like we've got a saturated Cupel cup. It's saturated down through the bottom. Let's move you guys over here and we're gonna look at this while it's on the cinder block. Okay, so what I see right off is I still see the pins for the most part. I'm not sure how much of that material is bearing any copper, any steel, anything, but you can see that the lead oxide has gotten down to the bottom of the Cupel cup. So this is a pretty saturated Cupel cup. We can recover the lead. There is a way to do it, but you can see it's just, I got a lot more to do. I'm sure there's probably an excess of lead, so I use too much lead is what I can see first off. It does look like it started to work, and given a little less lead and a little more time, that temperature was probably right. It got up to about 1850. So if I were to do maybe 1900 with less lead, the material would eventually condense down to a button. So, part of me wants to try, when this cools down, scrape this out into a new Cupel cup and see what we end up with. I don't know. Problem is, any of that gold plating could be in any of the mess that gets left behind, so that won't really be an accurate assessment. So my quick assessment of this, it's pretty heavy. All that lead is in fact in there. It's kind of fun. But my quick assessment is this is a failed attempt, as I mostly expected. I can recover the lead out of this, and maybe in so doing I could get some of the precious metals left in here to come with it. But that would be further down the road as I Cupel more and more and end up with more of these lead oxide laden Cupel cups. So we'll save this off to the side for, I don't know when I'm gonna process these to recover the lead. But it's pretty interesting. I could also do this in the forge to try to make this molten again in a way that I could reach in, grab it out, and pour any liquid that accumulates inside the bowl here into a new Cupel cup and try that. But Cupeling works, from what I've read, around 1700 degrees Fahrenheit. But some of these metals in pins, like steel, if it's a magnetic pin, then it's going to have iron and steel. Steel's melting temperature is around 2500 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's not going to be helpful around these temperatures, but I've got a lot of Cupel cups. I've got a lot of lead. We'll get this figured out. I'm open to suggestions. I have watched a few other people Cupel with success. I'll leave some of my favorite videos that I followed to try to figure out Cupeling down in the description below. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna end the video for today right here on this failure, which is fine. I now know another thing that I shouldn't really rely on this kiln for. I will find a way to do successful Cupeling within this kiln, because the kiln will get up to the temperatures I need. I just need to make sure I'm not wasting my time with metals that won't Cupel well. Okay, it is Thanksgiving this week here in the US, so happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Please, I don't want to get political, or I don't want to get overly sentimental for all my viewers and my friends out there, but be good to each other, be thankful for each other, and we'll see you guys in the next video. So, have a good night. I guess it's time for a few announcements and some updates. It's November. It's cold, so I'm not sure how many videos I'll be able to push out. I've been trying to do every other week. Bad Idea Metals has been a lot of fun. We're about 3.5 years into this project. It started with me buying a forge. With winter coming on, this is always the hardest time for me to make new content. So I don't know how often I'm going to be able to make short videos or these quick, rapid turnaround videos. Some of my videos feel to me like I've been rushing them to get them out to you. In the summer and when the weather's nice, it's easy to turn around a video every week or every other week. With the onset of winter, this whole area will be covered in snow. It'll be hard for me to get new content out as often as I'd like. So please be patient as the weather does affect how quickly I can get videos out. To make my videos just a little bit better, I have contracted a audio track from Moores. I want to thank Moores so much for his creativity and his willingness to make some music for this channel. His link is in the description below, and I am so thankful to him for taking the time to make some music for our videos here. I think it's time that my videos reflect how much fun I really have out here, and I really want to bring that excitement and enthusiasm to you in a way that I feel has been lacking in some of my videos, especially recently. To wrap up and close out 2023 and to head us into 2024, I'd like to announce a giveaway. I don't know what the giveaway is going to be yet. Any ideas you have, you're welcome to post in the comments. I've done bars of copper, I've done bars of aluminum and brass. I've even done CPUs, Pentium Pros and things like that. I don't have any more Pentium Pros or Pentium chips to give away. All the ones that are not in my personal collection, which you saw in the video that I posted a few months back, those ones that I'm saving, those are for me. And all the other ones that I didn't care if I gave away, they've all been given away. However, I am open to other suggestions for a giveaway. I'd like to do it by the end of December. That gives us a full month to figure it out and publish the announcement video for that. So those of you who want to win something, tell me what you want to win. We'll work on getting that video out in the next week or two. So to recap this very long and long-winded summary, videos are going to be better quality, which is going to slow me down. The better quality includes a new soundtrack. Thank you to Moores. And finally, I'd like to do this giveaway. I'm also curious if anybody out there is interested in swag. I've been looking at shirts and hats and stickers. I actually would love to get a press that I can press out keychains or medallions of some sort. I don't have a mint. I kind of wish I did. If you guys are interested in anything, some merchandise or anything like that, let me know. I don't even know if you guys would be interested in merchandise. I'm such a small channel, I can't imagine that there'd be that much excitement for it, but let me know. Let me know in the comments. Back when I started this channel, the reason why I made it a channel was so that I could share what I do with my friends. If you've got curiosities or wonder how or why I do what I do, you're welcome to ask. I try my best to answer every comment. I don't always make it to everyone, but I do make it to most. So feel free to drop me a comment. If you haven't, subscribe. It helps me understand how many people are enjoying the content. People bounce off of my videos all the time. So if you subscribe, it gives me a better metric as to how well a video is being received. So in short, thanks for watching. The only reason why I record what I do is so that I could share it with you. So it means a lot to me to have you guys along for the ride. We'll see you in the next video.